Welcome to Hilltopper Football Weekly. I am Todd All. I'm joined by head coach Roger Wiley. This is the final Hilltopper Football Weekly for the year. Coach, thank you for being here. We got a little bit of stuff to cover today, so we'll jump right in with the highlights from the Fairmont State game. Down at Fairmont State, it was the final game of the season on a Thursday night. We start the first play of the game. Lucas O'Connor's pass just a little bit over the head of a receiver and intercepted by Fairmont State.
Yeah, pretty bad. If you look at it again, he probably could have ran for at least back to the line of scrimmage. He tried to force one in there and it didn't work.
There was a 15-yard penalty on Fairmont State on the return, so pushed them back. It was their first play after the interception. Logan Deary almost returns the favor.
Yeah, and Logan was in position to make a play, and he knocked it down. They didn't catch it, but you'd like to see him intercepted in that situation.
And 2 plays after that, Kenyon Felder getting the start, sacks Cruz Naylor for a loss of 9 and forces Fairmont State to punt after the interception by West Liberty.
Right, and for being a true freshman, he earned the right to start in the last few games, and he took advantage of the situation he was put in.
It's a 2nd and 9 situation here. O'Connor finds Quentin Jones for 18 yards and a first down early on.
Right, and they left him uncovered, and we wanted to throw quick. We kept the run blocking scheme on, and he threw it and got a big gain out of it.
This is O'Connor again. This is a 3rd and 9. Finds McCullough for a gain of 17, and it gave the Toppers a first down at the 11, and it led to this Jeremiah Ortiz touchdown.
Yeah, and the touchdown, we knew we'd have an easy one down there, just the way they covered trips on the goal line. They couldn't account for the back, and we ran some option. And basically, he's untouched into the end zone.
So the Toppers go up a score on that, 7-0. West Liberty would punt on the following drive, but on this return, a fumble, and the Toppers would recover.
Right, you see Brian Mulligan got Milligan got his helmet on the bar. No, actually, it was Mackenzie Baker. William got his helmet on the football, knocked it loose, but we didn't capitalize off the turnover, and we had to score there.
And this is Kenyon Felder again getting the sack on Cruz Naylor. A personal foul would be called, but again, Fairmont State would punt anyways on that drive. This is in the second quarter. Cruz Naylor finds Vicker for a 6-yard touchdown, 7-7. And Quentin Jones gets a big catch into Fairmont State territory.
Right, and we knew we can hit him in the creases. We got him in there. He made a big catch. He got a big hit. He held on to the ball, but again, we didn't capitalize on our field position. We didn't go in to score.
We go on to 4th down, and a tough one for the Toppers there as it's missed by inches for Jeremiah Ortiz. They would have to turn the ball over on downs, and Fairmont State would drive down the field and miss the field goal at the end of the first half. This is in the 4th quarter, and it was a touchdown to Harris for 44 yards, made it 13-7. And this is in the 4th quarter, an interception for O'Connor. It was basically the end of the game, just a little too far ahead for Osmond Cargbo, and the final score of this ball game was 13-7 in favor of Fairmont State. A tough game for the Toppers, but was kind of indicative of this season where Fairmont State, a very good team this season. The Toppers playing right with them the entire time. It was just a play or two here and there that was the difference of the game.
Right. Well, they were able to make us one-dimensional. They really loaded the box, and we weren't able to take advantage of that in the pass game. We're under 50% thrown. We throw the picks, and we had other options, and we just, it's really what you said. It was a microcosm of what happened throughout the whole year. We didn't take advantage of turnovers offensively, and you look at the whole season, a couple plays here or there, then the record's a little different, but you have to go out and make the plays. You can't count on anybody giving you any games, and we just didn't make enough plays.
We'll take a look at some of the stats from this game against Fairmont State team-wise. You see the Toppers getting 106 yards on the ground, 165 through the air. They held Fairmont State to just 90 rushing yards, and they've got a pretty good offensive line too.
Right. We were able to. Their back had 5 or 6 straight 100-yard games. But the big difference in the game is the turnovers. We have 4 turnovers. They have 1. And, our defense did a great job of keeping them out of the end zone. For the most part, they went on a drive, and, the coaches defensive-wise said We made a bad call on the goal line on the slants. We'll take that one, but we can't give up the big play, especially in that formation, putting the boundary. They have only run one play all year. And we knew they were going deep, and we got out of position and didn't make the play.
We'll take a look at some individual stats as well offensively first. Jeremiah Ortiz, 79 yards on the day and a touchdown. Lucas O'Connor, 13 of 29, 3 interceptions. Quentin Jones, 2 receptions, 37 yards, averaged 18.5 in this game. Jeremiah Ortiz surpassed the 1,000-yard mark for the season, just the 9th Hilltopper to ever do that in 92 years of Hilltopper football.
Yeah, and I've been around for all of them. He had a great year running the football, and I don't like to rotate backs, and I've done it for a few years, and it'll be the same way next year. Whoever wins the job is going to get the bulk of the carries. But what's lost in all that is the blocking up front, that you receive from the offensive line. I know Yaki and Corey Ernest and Whipke and Rucker played in every game, and then Hunter Steele and Ezekiel May played left tackle. So they all did a good, for somebody to rush for 1,000 yards, they had to be doing something up front.
And that's what I was thinking during the season, calling the games, is wondering how much the offensive line wanted that 1,000 yards as much as Jeremiah did. Because it's a group effort for those 1,000 yards rushing. All 6 guys, the running back and the 5 linemen, had a lot to do with that. We take a look at some of the defensive stats individually for the Toppers in this last game against Fairmont State. Cliff Clark with 8 tackles, 3 of them solo. Kenyon Felder, 8 total tackles, 6 solo, 3.5 for loss, and 2 sacks on the day. Logan Deary, 8 total tackles, 1 for loss, 5 solo, 1 pass breakup. You saw there was almost the interception early on in the first quarter.
Yeah, and Cliff Clark, was able to lead the conference in tackling. I don't know the last time, but the best thing about that screen right there is that all of them are back for next year. And we got to build of what we did defensively this year. I thought we were dominant at times. There's times we gave up big plays, but we're going to have to build of what we did and find players to step in for the seniors that are leaving.
And the Toppers defense did finish number 1 in the Mountain East Conference in passing yards allowed. They will lose Terrence Baldwin to graduation. He's going to be on here in a little bit on the coaches show, and just speak about some of the players that are graduating and leaving and how great they were and how well they played for the Toppers.
Well, Terrence Baldwin's probably, he's a 4-year starter. Did not miss a game in his career. But his senior year, he was dominant. He only ended up being honorable mention, but he only gave up 116 yards receiving, didn't give up 1 touchdown all year. You never can control what goes on in the all-conference. You're never happy when you leave it. That's one very major disappointment, probably the biggest disappointment I've had in my head coaching career is he played at all-conference. He played at an all-American level. You can look at every corner in the country, and the teams in our conference were throwing the ball this year. And he was able to have a fantastic year. And then Mosenko, was injury-riddled, but his stats were high enough where he was able to get second team all-conference. The guys that did make all-conference but probably was defensively Jamil Raymore and Sean Fuimaono. They played at a high level all year inside and kept people off Cliff, and Cliff will tell you that there was nobody on him, which allowed him to make plays. Well, it's because of the guys in front of him. You look at offensively, you got Ortiz, you got Corey Ernest, Ian Kelly, second team. He's graduating early, so he won't be with us tonight. But we've had, the best thing about this senior class is probably it's been the highest GPA of kids graduating. And when I listen to the things on senior day, out of the 21 kids that are graduating, they'll all be graduated by May. We got probably about 8 or 9 of them that are graduating this December. And, coaching-wise, I put a lot of pressure on myself on win-losses, but in the reality of things, it's about these kids graduating from college, learning from, on the field what they did to take into life. And I'm sure these seniors will tell you they've learned a lot on the field, and they'll be able to be successful in life because of what happened here in the football program and also in the classroom.
Sounds good, Coach. Well, when we come back, we will get to talk to some of the Hilltopper players. We'll have the 3 seniors. We'll leave it a secret until we show up for the next segment. But Coach Wiley will return for the third segment here on Hilltopper Football Weekly. Again, when we come back, it will be 3 senior players from the Hilltopper football team.
This is WLU TV 14, West Liberty University.
Welcome back to Hilltopper Football Weekly. On this segment, as we do for every season-ending show, we've got some football players on to talk. Today, we've got 3 seniors, Terrence Baldwin, Jeremiah Ortiz, and Mo Sanko. These 3 guys, you've heard their names quite a bit throughout the season during the game broadcast. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. How are you doing?
Thank you for having us.
Not too bad, no problem here. Thank you again for joining us. Jeremiah, obviously, you're a broadcast major, right?
Digital media design.
DMD major, so he's been around these parts a little bit, been in the TV studio, knows his way around the Media Arts Center a little bit. Mo and Terrence, why don't you tell us what your majors are and what you do here up on campus when it's not football season?
I'm a business major, minoring in entrepreneurship, and when there's no football, just work out, hang out with these guys, chill in the union, read a couple of books here and there.
I'm Terrence Baldwin, and I'm a criminal justice major. And when there's no football up here, I usually just work out or watch football on TV.
Well, you guys have definitely given out a lot of highlights, and it made my job easy when it's time to pick out, hey, what do I need to show for this game? Jeremiah, again, we showed a lot of your highlights, a lot of Mo's as well. Terrence, I made a joke earlier in the year where, besides the first game at Urbana with the interception for a touchdown, I didn't say your name a whole lot, but it was a good thing because teams didn't want to throw to your side and things of that nature. But then towards the end of the year, they started trying to do it again, and we had to say your name a lot because every time we did, we saw a ball go flying through the air because you're just swatting it away. And it was really impressive to watch all of you seniors. The time and effort you put in throughout your years here at West Liberty was very appreciated, and you guys played so well this year as individuals. And Jeremiah getting 1,000 yards on the season, just the 9th player to ever do that in 92 years of Hilltopper football, just the 9th guy. That's pretty impressive.
Yes, sir. I got to thank my offensive line first and foremost. Like, they blocked their butts off the second half of the season, and then they let me know, like, this season might not be going the way that we wanted to go, but it was like it'll mean a lot if we got this 1,000 yards. So that wasn't just for me, that was for them too, and like we shared that together.
Now it's just a great accomplishment for all 6 of you guys to be able to do that. So I've built up Jeremiah, I've built up Terrence a little bit. I'm going to build up Mo. One of the reasons Terrence was so good at defensive back and got those interceptions and was able to make those plays because quarterback was under pressure a little bit. We had Mo coming off the edge and causing a little havoc in the backfield.
Just a little bit.
And a little bit of dual threat there as well on the defensive side, not just pass rushing, able to stop the run, as well as Mo Sanko on the end. Guys, tell me a little bit about your favorite moment from just this season.
From just this season, as you referenced earlier at the Urbana game, I remember as you're on pass rush and trying to get to the quarterback, and he heaves it down the field. And I'm thinking the ball's about to be incompleted, but Terrence comes up with the interception. So I turn around. I'm like, okay, I got to block somebody. I was like, okay, let me find Terrence. I turn around to find Terrence, and he is nowhere to be found. He is on the 10-yard line about to score. This man was so fast. It was so quick. I was just over there just looking around like, oh, made my job easy.
Jeremiah, oh, sorry, good.
Oh, no, that was it.
Okay.
That was it.
Oh, one of my favorite moments was the West Virginia State game. My offensive line was just dominating the other team. Me and Savion and I were both approaching 100 yards, and they're just like saying crazy stuff to the other team, and they're just like, the other team's just like what? It was like in between snaps, and it was just real funny because like it's just weird because it was just dominating them, and they're just like, oh, these guys are crazy.
So your linemen dominate the team, and they just try to be weird by saying weird things to the line. So like,
they try to make them think they're crazy.
Yeah, these guys are whooping up on us. Now they're just saying crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. Get a little bit of mind games in there, Terrence.
Had me laughing.
One of my favorite moments, we was playing Concord, and I think we kicked the ball off to them. And they kick returner, he fumbled the ball. And one of our players picked it up, and it looked like he started running with it. But he fumbled it, and the ball just kept rolling to the end zone. And we said, okay, he got it again. He was in the end zone, and he fumbled it again, and they came up with it. And we were just all like, we were just celebrating, and then we were just like, oh, man, you know what I mean?
So
it
like
was just real funny.
The holy roller back in the day for the Raiders, except it didn't quite work out.
And then,
Now Now, what was your favorite moment of your career, the time that you spent here at West Liberty, since you're all seniors? Favorite moment of your career as a Hilltopper?
Favorite moment. So my positional coach, Brad Forsey. Coach Forsey likes to bring out a lot of people. About last year, was it last year? I believe it was last year. We had this one shy freshman, and Forsey tried to bring the best out of him. He decided the best way to do that is to challenge this man to a race. So Coach Forsey was very convincing. I didn't think Forsey would win the race at first, but the way he was talking, just his whole demeanor, how he approached it, he was warming up. I was like, oh man, Forsey might have him beat. And I believe it was hanging on the line. If Forsey won, we had to do some up downs, and if what was his name? Yeah, Brian Campbell. Yeah, if Brian won, we just wouldn't have to do any up downs. And as the race picks up, we're like, oh man, Forsey's about to get it. Because Forsey's pumping his head, his whole head is red, his hat flew off. And then right before I think Forsey's about to open his stride, he grabs his hamstring, clutches it to the ground, and slowly falls off, and he lost the race badly. It was just so funny. I waited 4 years for that moment, and it was everything. It was worth it. It was definitely worth it.
Jeremiah, what was yours?
I have to say my favorite career moment was probably beating number 9 Concord home the first game of the season. Like, it was just a great team victory. Everybody took part, and just that feeling. I just remember that feeling afterwards. It was a great feeling. So that's probably one of my favorite moments.
Beating the top 10 team at home in the opening game of the season, it's tough to beat that one. Terrence, your favorite moment?
I had to say my favorite career moment came my true freshman year against Duquesne. It's when I got my first interception, and I was just like, man, dang, he came against a D1 AA team, and I was just really excited about that.
Well, for all of you guys, again, graduating seniors, what was it like, the college football experience? Was it what you expected when you were high school students and wanted to be a college football player? Was it everything that you thought it would be?
Yes and no. See, coming out of high school, I thought college football was going to be like what it was on TV. It's like what you see on Saturday afternoons. You see all the big moments, the teams winning games, but what you don't factor in is the competition, the work behind the scenes, the off season, the chemistry behind my teammates. So it wasn't exactly what I thought it was, but I love the game. I love every second of it, and it taught me a lot of things in life. It taught me a lot of things I'm going to use later on in life after I graduate, and I'm just thankful for that opportunity.
That's great. Jeremiah?
Like he said, I mean, it's not everything I thought it was going to be, but it was definitely, like, I knew I was going to have to come in and compete. I thought just because I was going to go D2, I was going to be the best player, in which that wasn't the case. So, like, D2 is really competitive, and I had to work every year just to get on the field. So that I was just like, yeah, this is the real deal, but it's not like it's gonna be easy, like, coming in. You know what I'm saying?
Terrence, for you?
Yeah, it was kind of everything I thought it was going to be, and I knew the game was going to be faster, and I realized that in the game when I kind of got beat, like when I first came in, and then the quarterback, he put the ball like right on the money, and I was just like, dang, the game is fast, and the quarterbacks, they're a lot better too.
Well, guys, I appreciate you being here with us on the show. All three of you, you said it was tougher than maybe you expected coming into Division II. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys all stepped up to the challenge. You all exceeded at this Division II level, and we can't thank you enough on behalf of Channel 14 getting to broadcast all your games since you've been here, and everybody else, Topper Nation, that are fans of West Liberty football. Thank you for your contributions to West Liberty football. And it's not just a source of entertainment. People care about you guys, and we love to see you do well. So good luck in your future in life and whatever endeavors you want to go into. Good luck, and thank you for all that you've done for West Liberty.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
When we come back, we will have Coach Roger Wiley back and look around the Mountain East Conference.
This is WLU TV 14, West Liberty University.
Welcome back to Hilltopper Football Weekly. We talked to some of the players last segment. We take a look at the season leaders for the Toppers offensively this year. Brenton Colabella with 10 touchdowns through the air, 117 out of 197, a 59% completion percentage. Jeremiah Ortiz, over 1,000 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was second in the Mountain East Conference in terms of yardage And Osmond Cargbo leads the Toppers in pass or receiving yardage, 331, and touchdowns with 3 on the year. Coach, some of your offensive leaders this year.
Yeah, unfortunately for Brenton, he was injured the last 5 or 6 games, saw limited action, and I wasn't about to put him out there in the fire. He had some problems with his rotator cuff. He had a slight tear, and the coach's decision to not play him just because of the tear in his rotator cuff. He had problems on certain passes and getting the ball out, and I didn't want to do further damage, knowing he had another year of eligibility. Probably if he was a senior, he would have probably played and started the last few games. But you look at the passing complete 60%. We want to be between 60-65%. 10 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. So those are really good numbers. And then you got Jeremiah with the 1,000 yards rushing, and obviously a lot of that goes to the line. But he had a really good season. And then receiver wise is where we normally we've had dominant receivers. I can't remember the last time we didn't have somebody on the all conference ballot. But we have to get better, and these guys have to improve for next year. And I've moved on already. We've been recruiting, and one of the places we need to get better is wide receiver. We need more consistent play.
We'll see what happens with the Toppers next season. At wide receiver, defensive leaders this season: Cliff Clark, first in the Mountain East Conference, solo tackles, 120 total tackles on the season. Logan Deary, 90 tackles, 59 solo, 4 interceptions on the season. And then Mo Sanko, 67 tackles, 49 solo, 2 sacks on the year. Again, he was banged up throughout the year, but played a decent amount while he was banged up and still put up those kind of numbers.
Right, and those 3 got the recognition along with Terrence Baldwin, our 4 guys on there. Obviously, Cliff would tell you that Jamil and Sean kept his legs free, that he could make plays. Logan would tell you that the defensive line got to the quarterback, and also you got a couple picks off deflections from Terrence, and they played really well. And we need to play better, obviously. But I'm happy to have all of those guys back, and it's quite an honor in this conference to lead the conference in tackling and be in the top 10, I think, across the nation in tackling. So, obviously with that comes added pressure for the following year. But Cliff Clark works hard in the classroom, and he'll tell you he didn't have a year that he thought he would, and he couldn't he's having a hard time managing his time between the nursing program and football. And I told him we can't use that as an excuse moving forward. We need to find a way to manage the time, because what suffered, in his opinion, is his film study, because he was, he had to study in the classroom. And so we just got to do a better monitoring his time, trying to get him film where he can watch when on his downtime. And, for him, it's basically 24 hours of studying. If he's not in the classroom studying for his nursing degree, then he is in the film room watching film. And so, I told him what has to suffer is his social life, and that's what has suffered. And Logan, he'll tell you he dropped more picks than he got, and he needs to work on his hands, and we'll get the jugs machine out and get that working. And then Mohammed, he made the all-conference team basically on his motor. Nobody played with a higher motor than him in the conference. He made plays when they ran away from him and when they ran to him.
And we look at some of the special teams leaders for the Hilltoppers this season. Isaiah Robinson, 13 kick returns. He averaged 20.5 along of 33. Christian Morris, 7 of 10 in his field goals, 21 of 26 in point after attempts, 34 punts for 1,400 yards, over 1,400 yards, an average of 43.5. And then Aaron Farmer, 21 punts, over 700 yards, one over 50, 8 of them inside the 20.
Yeah, and when Christian got hurt, we had to make a decision on who we were going to punt, and he was too important. So we kind of monitored things. I thought Coach Estrada did a good job of picking the situations of who was punting when. If Christian's healthy, he's probably the first team all-conference punter. He probably is close to getting All-American status. Farmer came in and did a great job, and Isaiah, when healthy, provided a spark, and we need to try to score off of the special teams.
Well, the Toppers finished this season 3-8. We look forward to next season. A lot of these guys that we talked about are coming back, so it's going to be fun to watch the Toppers again next season. We'll take a look around the Mountain East Conference during the last week of the regular season for the Mountain East. Again, the Toppers and Fairmont State played Thursday night. And Saturday, it was Shepherd upending Virginia Wise 63-35. Concord fell to Urbana at Urbana 36-15. Charleston wins 28-14 over Glenville State. West Virginia State 45-28 at Wesleyan. And then Indianapolis, a top 10 team in the nation, beating Notre Dame 42-27. In the final Mountain East Conference standings after the regular season, Shepherd is 10-0, Fairmont State 8-3 along with Notre Dame, West Virginia State 6-5, and then the rest of the conference below 500. West Virginia Wesleyan, Urbana, and Wise at 5-6, Charleston at 4-6, Glenville State 4-7. You see Concord at 2-9 on the season. Some of the Mountain East Conference players of the week for the final week of the regular season. His fourth time, Connor Jessup. He had 25 completions for 386 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown as well. We go to the defensive player of the week, Moises Valcarcel, 13 solo tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery in their win over West Virginia Wesleyan. It helped secure their first winning season since 2007 for West Virginia State. And the special teams player of the week, Zach Wise, set the school record for most extra points in a season with 66 in this game, had 9 PATs in his final game of the season. That's not too shabby for a kicker.
No, I mean, you're scoring a lot of touchdowns, and you're going to get a lot of opportunities when you're doing that.
And with that, we move on to the Mountain East Conference honors for the year. Offensive Player of the Year, Connor Jessup from Shepherd. Wilkins from West Virginia State was the Offensive Freshman of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, also from Shepherd, Miles Humphrey. And Defensive Freshman of the Year, Corey Roberts from Glenville State. And then Coach of the Year, Monty Cater for Shepherd, going undefeated and being number 2 in the national rankings. We look at some of the first-team Mountain East Conference players, especially from the Hilltop. Jeremiah Ortiz and Cliff Clark, 1 from offense and 1 for defense for the Toppers.
Yeah, and obviously they deserved it, but they'll be the first to tell you they had help along the way. But I'm proud of both of their accomplishments. And usually when teams play well in certain areas, the individuals will garner some awards.
And second team Mountain East, Ian Kelly, Corey Ernest, and Mo Sanko, 2 offensive, 1 defensive. We talked to Mo Sanko just a little bit ago. But again, these 3 players, very good. Sad to see them go.
Yeah, all 3 won't be with us, but it's quite an honor to receive any accolades from the conference, because if you think about how many football players are playing in this conference and how little get recognized for their accomplishments.
And also honorable mention for Mountain East, Terrence Baldwin and Logan Deary. Both of these guys, in my humble personal opinion, a little bit low on the honorable mention. Maybe should have been a little bit higher than that, but they still get recognized by the Mountain East.
Right, and Terrence Baldwin, is the one I feel for what he did for us this year. And Logan Deary, too. I mean, both of them are first-team all-conference caliber secondary players, and hopefully Logan will use that as added motivation going into his junior campaign. And feel sorry for Terrence, but he worked hard for 4 years, 4-year starter, and then he plays better than any corner and doesn't get any accolades. But he's humble. He understands just making something means a lot, and I'm probably more upset than he is about it, but he'll be successful, graduate here in May, and we'll move on.
Well, one final thing to mention in terms of Mountain East Conference, there was one team in the playoffs. It was Shepherd. They were defeated in a surprising upset by Findlay, 29-17. Shepherd only 56 yards on the ground, surprisingly just under 250 passing yards. You see Findlay 277 on the ground, almost 300 through the air.
Right, and then I watched the whole game, and Findlay in the second half absolutely dominated Shepherd, and Shepherd couldn't get their running going. Jessup was a little off, but that has to do a little bit with what Findlay was doing defensively. They blitzed probably 80% of the time, played man, and their corners were able to man them up and stop them from making big plays, and didn't give them any easy ones. And you'd always like to see our conference teams move on, but Shepherd really got outplayed that day.
Well, the season is over for the Mountain East Conference football year. Coach, thank you again for doing the show with us all season long. It was great to get to broadcast all the games and travel and go to all the games as well. Thank you so much for being here with us today and all season long. Look forward to it next year
Well,
as
I
well.
want to thank you personally and Teresa Gretchen and all the students that work on the set, work at the games. I know that they never get the thanks. They're kind of like the offensive linemen of the,
used to.
used to it. But I know our players really do appreciate it, and more so our parents. A lot of times we have players from all over the country, and I know our parents get to tune in every week, and it's an added tool for us recruiting wise, knowing that every game is going to be televised, and no matter where they are, everybody can watch them. But again, thank you, and thank you to Teresa and the student workers, because they make it possible.
That is absolutely right. None of this could be done without the help of Teresa Gretchen, the student crew, and Jared Thompson. So thank you to everyone who helped out on the Channel 14 TV crew. Also, the next time you'll be able to see Hilltopper football will be in the spring for the 2018 spring football game. We will broadcast that here on the West Liberty Sports Network. So for everyone from the TV crew that broadcast football games and helped out for these coaches shows, for Coach Weiland, myself, thank you for watching Hilltopper Football Weekly all season long, and we will see you next year.